Welcome back. The border crisis growing every day. Border officials reporting more than 100,000 migrant encounters in the month of February alone. That is up 28% from January. 3,000 of those include children under the age of 12. The Department of Homeland Security scouting new sites now to potentially house the unaccompanied minors, including a NASA facility, among other buildings. Joining me right now is Texas Congresswoman Beth Van Duyne. And Congresswoman, it's great to have you this morning. Thanks very much for being here. You are right there on the border in Texas. What can you tell us about the situation today?
Well, I want to tell you, it's crazy what we're seeing. We're seeing thousands upon thousands of illegal immigrants pouring into this country, basically at the invitation of the Biden administration. You know, they're being offered checks, they're being offered health insurance, they're being offered pretty much everything, including housing. And then we're surprised that during his campaign, when Biden said he's going to open the borders, now we're somehow surprised that this is a created crisis, and we shouldn't be surprised at it at all. But I'll tell you, at the same time, when we're trying to open up the country, having this at our southern border is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you make the right points in terms of all of these people coming and thinking that now is the time to get into America. Assess for our audience what the implications are, because this is not only taking opportunities and potential jobs away from Americans, but it is also a major national security issue, isn't it?
Well, it's a major national security on a number of fronts. I mean, first of all, we're allowing drug smugglers, we're allowing human traffickers, we're allowing drug cartels into our country. And when you have Mexico even urging us to tighten up because they're having problems in their country, you know, with this new policy, we need to listen. And we see it in our communities every day. And as we're sitting here trying to fight a pandemic, this administration is knowingly allowing people into this country illegally that are carrying COVID-19, which is in direct violation to Title 42, which basically says we're not going to import the COVID-19 virus into our country. So one of the ways to actually be able to combat and maybe close our borders and have more secure borders is if some of the AGs start to step up and actually file suit and insist that the Biden administration keep this country safe and not import folks with COVID-19, because we have an opportunity to do that. I'm not sure if the AGs will do that, but you can't have it both ways. You can't keep businesses closed and you can't keep people out of school at the same time as opening up the border with COVID-19 folks. So if we are saying that, okay, we're not going to follow Title 42, then you're saying that the pandemic is over. You can't have it both ways. Call it a crisis and then open up our borders.
Yeah, I was watching Fox last night, and a border official said that we have a major heroin problem in this country, heroin and teenagers, and it starts at that border. That's where the heroin is coming in. People need to understand the implications. That's why I bring that up. But you made a great point in terms of the states and what the AGs are going to do. The AG of Texas, Ken Paxton, has been on this program several times. He sued the Biden administration for blowing off the law. Now Texas's statewide mask mandate officially ended yesterday. Businesses can open at 100% capacity. Tell me about that and what is going on in Texas, and whether or not you're going to see more states do what you just referred to, and that is push back on some of these policies coming out of the Biden administration.
You're seeing elected officials in red states who are listening to the constituents. You know, I myself have been around, and I've had meetings with small business owners who are desperate to open. I've had meetings with parents who are desperate to get their kids back in school. And you've got elected officials who are listening to them, saying this pandemic we have been forcing these things closed. We've been forcing schools closed. We've been forcing businesses out of work now for 12 months. It's time we reopen the economy. We're giving out 6 million vaccinations. In Texas alone, thousands of people are being vaccinated every day. We have protocols in place to keep people safe. We have to open up the economy. We need those blue states, instead of getting $350 billion from the latest stimulus package, we need them to follow that kind of cue and understand that you can't continue spending trillions of dollars and shut down the economy at the same time. We have to start paying this money back at some point. And right now it's on the backs of working families, small business owners that have put their life savings into these businesses. We're seeing it every day. We have to reopen the economy, and we have to be careful. And opening up our borders is doing none of those things.
Yeah, I mean, you're right in terms of the professional and personal responsibility. People have their own personal responsibility. They're smart. They can determine when they'll need the mask, when they won't need the mask. I mean, do you worry, however, about these new strains that we're talking about? There's the South Africa strain. There's a strain in New York City that's apparently a variant, which is more dangerous. Same overall concept, though, right? You deal with these strains the way you've been dealing with COVID from the get-go.
Correct. I mean, well, I wouldn't say that we want to deal with it. I think we've learned a lot of lessons in the last years how not to deal with it, which is completely shutting down the economy. But we're going to continue to see various strains pop up, which is why, a lot of the protocols, safety protocols that we've put into place are working, why vaccinations are working. Folks who are getting vaccinated, even if they get a new strain, are still less likely to be hospitalized because they are still protected by it. But we have to learn that we cannot have that kind of a reaction where we're shutting everything down in response. These things are going to come up. We've had pandemics over the years, the entire country's future. We've never reacted like this. I think years later, when we look back on our reaction to this, we're going to see how troubling it is long term for these kids, for example, who've been out of school for the last year. We've robbed an entire generation right now of their ability to be able to be successful in the future.
Oh, yeah, and make no mistake, these kids will be at a disadvantage. When they go looking for a job, they're going to have fewer opportunities than those that had the opportunity to be in school, in-school learning. Congressman, we'll keep watching. You make some great points. We so appreciate you joining me this morning. Come back soon.
Thank you so much.
Beth Van Duyne joining us in D.C. this morning. Thank you so much.